Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to continue on with this week's theme of gibberish band names, looking at the wild name Porcupine Tree. What does that even mean? What is that, a tree with quills on it? I mean, I don't even know. And it's funny because I never really noticed it was just the name of the band, right? Yeah, it's Porcupine Tree. But then you actually it's gibberish band week, so I'm breaking it down. I'm thinking, what is Porcupine Tree? Is that gibberish? Yeah, what is that? Anyways, let's get into this. The track we're checking out is called Russia on Ice from the Lightbulb Sun album. Let's check this out and see what Porcupine Tree is bringing to the table today. Really cool spatialness at beat 1. Yeah, just plenty of space. It's very smooth. We have a warm synth coming in. And even our right guitar is just kind of twinkling, right? Oh, it was. Really interesting. I was not expecting this turn here. That guitar brings an angstiness to it that the rest of the song is not.
You think I deserve this? You said I was stupid.
Dude, this is.
All my thoughts are like coal. Russia on ice is burning a hole.
Yeah, it's melancholic, but there is a weight that sits underneath all of this.
Can't stop myself drinking. Can't stop being me. If I call, will you come and will you save me? I see the whole thing come down. said you hate me this way. It's just a matter of time.
I mean, a beautiful section, lovely harmonies, but it really came out of nowhere, and I'm having a tough time positioning it. You know, other than that harmony section though, I'm getting a lot of anathema vibes here. Yeah, real nice passing off of that line.
A drop in the ocean.
Oh, okay, our bowed instruments are gone.
A significant motion. Nothing
Now they're back.
melts
Okay,
in
just
this
had to wait.
cold.
Gotta be patient.
But Russia on ice is burning away. I see the whole thing come down. I'm burning to the ground. Well, what the hell?
Beautiful run on that violin.
You said you hate me this way. It's just a matter of time.
Beautiful. What? What instrument is this? This is really neat. It sounds like it sounds like a bass guitar, but the action is just a little wider. Yeah, so they really took it into an eerie direction, but I'm still so confused about this process. Tons of compression, distortion going on here. Brand new guitar tone. Shift to the crash cymbals. Dude. The width of the sub bass is just filling the space. I am so curious about the choices here. Yeah, so what is going on here? I have some guesses, right? I mean that's what we do here, right? I break down the music. I heard music. I have thoughts on it, but I do feel like I am left with more questions than answers, and that y'all are really gonna have to help me on this one. So this is primarily musical storytelling. There's a lot of events going on in here. And even the time itself, I mean, it's 13 minutes long and five, six sections, maybe tops. We spend a lot of time with each of the moments in this song, and I think that the length of time we spend in these sections is a core component of story they're trying to tell. If not purposefully categorizing the section itself, just allowing the listener to experience each of these sections in different capacities is going to tell a story on its own. For instance, if we spend the same amount of time between happy and sadness, we can kind of allocate that into a single feeling. But if our song constantly dances back and forth between double the amount of time in sadness and a smaller amount of time in happiness, we can see that as a fleeting element of the narrative. So the length that we spend in each of these could be something that is understood on the larger reading of it, or it could be attributed specifically to each of these sections. I'm not really sure how to read into it yet. I just know that we spent a lot of time in some of these. I also know that I was consistently undercut on resolution. So many times I was like, yes, building up the tension. This is going to be a perfect time to release this pressure. And then they just don't. It's, uh, I don't know. The rising tension is just kind of dispersed. The tension leaves, but the resolution didn't happen. It's ruined in a way. It happens consistently. There is no finding peace, there's just moments of less tension. And that is a consistent idea that shows up throughout this track. It's honestly what I would say is probably one of its defining features. And something that I definitely going to keep in mind when we hit the lyrics on, or maybe even later if I can find some themes that might tie all these sections together, is a lack of resolution. There's moments of more calm than others, but we don't ever fully resolve to anything. We don't ever let the pressure go in a way that is satisfactory. We let it go in a way that just allows us to get to the next minute. We never really leave the edge of our seats to relax back into the seat comfortably, but we can at least lessen our grip holding on to it. Some muscles will lighten up, but we are not releasing the tension. We are not calming down at all. We are not feeling a sense of safety, possibly, or something analogous to that. It is both infuriating and something to admire. It is not an easy task to go about withholding release from a target audience for this long. They are craving something and you are telling them no, and that's going to drive people away. It takes guts to say, this is my artistic vision. You're going to sit in this discomfort. Now, Porcupine Tree is not a band that I would ever think would shy away from artistic vision. In fact, I think this is Steve Wilson's band, and he is somebody who I have consistently loved thematically. The songs may not always work for me on a level that I'd want to return to, but artistic vision is something that this man just does not cave on. But like I said, it does show guts to put artistic vision above everything else and just lean into it and do it. Now, here's something interesting about this track. It feels highly inconsistent in a way that doesn't feel storytelling wise. Now, it is. Every bit of this song is telling a story through the music. The lyrics take up such a small aspect of that. We begin the song almost with positivity with glitteriness, glistening. I mentioned that the guitars off to the right had this sparkling element to them. It's just this really beautiful movement, and we had some stuff over on the left, some electronic pinging or something like that. And there's just a ton of spatialness here. There's this. I'll touch on this later, but the production on this is phenomenal. Now, we have these two ideas, and we sit here for a while before bringing in melodic ideas. And the melodies that come in are layered, but more importantly, the atmosphere they are implying is melancholic, maybe even hopeful at times. There's a positivity to it, but mostly there's this negative aspect. And I don't even know if it's particularly sadness. It kind of has that tinge of it, but I think it's just tired, honestly. Like a weariness. Not just being exhausted, but just tired of how things are. Weariness, I think, is really what I get out of this. There's a little bit of positive to it, there's a little bit of sadness, particularly. I just get tired though. I really do. And we kind of exist in this for a while. The vocals come in, everything kind of fades out. We get like a very intimate vocals and drums and light synth, maybe. I don't know. Everything gets real quiet. And our vocals feel defeated. And I'm really trying to pair all this. Like, what is sad, hopeful, tired, defeated? What emotion is all this? And I don't really think that there's a word for it. I think it's a complex set of emotions. Maybe there's a language out there with a word specifically for this, but in English, I can't think of a word that it completely embodies this. It is a way that you might feel sometime. And think to yourself, I wish I could describe this to someone, and you can't. Language just doesn't do that, at least not spoken language, the spoken language but music is a language that can, and I think that they have perfectly achieved this. Whatever it is, it is, it is a lot of negativity. But interestingly, it isn't overbearing. This isn't done in a way like doom metal would, where it's this crushing pressure. It's sort of just this ambient element. It's sort of like your whole worldview is tainted by it in such a way that it just doesn't feel different. This is just the norm. It's not overbearing. It isn't suffocating. It doesn't make you, you know, depressed. You don't want to, not do anything. You're functional as a sort, but you just don't have the greatest outlook on life. And that's what this feels like. They perfectly captured that. A negative feeling that's not weighty. It just is. It's just how the situation is. It's just how life is. It's almost in a sense that the vocalist, the narrator, the protagonist, whatever this person is, might not even notice the sadness in the periphery. It's just part of the color that the world looks like. Maybe not necessarily from birth, but for long enough that they can't remember a brighter vision. This, like I said, this is just the way things are. It's really interesting then that this section rises in intensity. We have pounding drums. I don't even, maybe they're toms. They feel bigger than toms. I don't know. When it comes to Porcupine Tree, their instrumentation is so wide. They pull so much from symphonic music that there's just no telling what instrument this could be. It's just a lower percussion instrument. and it rises with intensity, and the chords start to tighten up, and it really feels like we need this to either go into somewhere very tense and dark to retain this energy, or to release it and achieve that resolution. And we don't. It just kind of becomes the next idea, which is this beautiful vocal harmony and these angelic, airy instruments. I don't even remember what they were. Sitting in the background, just this beautiful, light feeling. Like all of this weight was released, but not in a way that makes you feel better. It's just, again, it just kind of is. And it really feels like it should be this big positive moment, and it just doesn't. Beautiful harmonies, beautiful chords, lots of beauty here, but not beautiful. It's very strange, and pairing it with that complex negativity that came before it, I honestly don't know what to think of it. And it was even more confusing the second time around when we had more tension in the lead up. I'm not even sure what to think of the multiple vocals. I mean, is there a narrative purpose to that? I want to think so. Porcupine Tree, again, is not a band that just does things to do things. A lot of their decisions have thematic intent to them. They're there to tell a story. We went from isolating darkness to tons of layers and being really filled. We went from, there's like a 50 dB difference between the last section and this one volume wise. It is an explosive section with instrumentation, chordally, sonically, atmospherically, layers. Like, this is just a drastically different vibe, and yet it just doesn't feel like it should be. It's almost like it's been dragged down by what came before it. It's being tainted by that negativity. It's wild. We do this back and forth, like a verse chorus thing going on, a couple of times, and there's small variations to each of them, and I get the feeling I'm missing a pretty major thing somewhere in the middle. But then we just kind of get to the beginning of the end, which is like 6 minutes in. And we bring in this really gnarly electric guitar. Not the gnarliest we'll get to, but it's got bite to it. And we have this idea, just kind of repeat it a few times, and well, now we've started to enter into a slow burn. There's small variations to break up the layering process, but for the most part, we've got a 5 minute slow burn ahead of us of this repeating idea as we continue to add more and more layers on top of it. In fact, I think there's even one moment where we bring back some of the lyrics from before. In fact, it seemed familiar. I don't know if they were the exact same lyrics. And then eventually we get this huge guitar tone. I mean, it is just booming. It's gritty. It's distorted. It's got all this grit to it, and it is just overpowering everything. And how did we get here? Layer by layer, things have gotten more and more intense and powerful. And I had mentioned an angst in this guitar, and there is. This part is angry. And is it angry that the brightness wasn't as good as was promised? We're in this negative funk, and we're told, things are brighter on the other side. You finally get to the other side, and it's just a little clearer. It's still pretty not great. And so you get angry about that. Like, it's just like I can feel the pieces, and I just like I want to put them together, and I can't see the story though. I can see a story. I can see how they connect, but I don't see why they connect. I think the lyrics are going to key me in here. Um, And we just get to this big, monstrous part, though, and things begin to crumble and fade away, fall apart, and we're left with electronic swooshes and beepings and what is this? And it's extended like everything else. We're here for a while, much longer than I would have liked to be. It's a extremely lengthy fade out of ideas that are not interesting on their own, and I can't make the connection to everything that came before. As usual, this might be cleared up with some context, but as of right now, I'm just not a real big fan of the ending. I'm sure it has purpose, and when I discovered it, we're like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. Never remove it. But right here, first time listen, no context. It's a bizarre choice. Benefit of the doubt, I believe it belongs there for some reason, but I can't make heads or tails of it. It's not bad. It doesn't take away from the song, but I can't see the purpose of its inclusion. And so we end up with in a very lengthy song that really doesn't explore a lot, but explores what it does quite deeply. Everything here is layered in one sense or another, might be emotionally layered or instrumentally layered, emotionally layered. It's an onion of a song. It's terrible. And there's parts of it that I really enjoy. There's parts of it that don't work for me, but I kind of see the threads forming here. And then there's parts that I just don't get. But it's fascinating to hear all of this and to see a story taking place. I think that's one of Porcupine Tree's biggest strengths is storytelling. They do a phenomenal job of atmospheric exploration, finding emotions that don't have words and giving them a musical definition, and stringing a few of these together to tell a very complex story in just 13 minutes. I'm going to hit some lyrics. We'll see what's going on. As I expected, there's not a lot of lyrics here, and they're fairly clearly stated. Not many metaphors. It appears to be some sort of falling out between our narrator, our lead character, and someone else. There's a few lines that really showcase this. If I can pull these lyrics back up. Um, you think I deserve this? You said I was stupid. I see the whole thing come down, so I burn it to the ground. What did you say to me? You said you hate me this way. Um, it's this you and I, right? You have said things to me. There's a falling out of this, and it has seemingly led our character to, well, burn it down. Almost take things into their own hands to ensure that there is no bridge to repair this or mend this relationship. And it also says I can't stop myself drinking. I can't stop being me. So it almost seems that there's some self-destructive elements coming on because of this falling out, possibly. And there's also one last thing I want to touch on that I thought was really neat was at the beginning. He says, "If I call, will you come and save me?" Almost saying, can you save me from myself? Can you help me not destroy maybe a rope that we still have together that maybe we could help, repair, pull ourselves to a middle ground because I'm on the verge of destroying any opportunity of rekindling this friendship or this relationship. But then at the end, says, I'll see the whole thing come down. I'll burn it down to the ground. It's just a matter of time. Right? So I don't know if that is um if it's supposed to be an understanding of, please help me before I do this, or will you save me? And then possibly somewhere in between, this person gets told no and says, well, screw it. It's all done then. This is what's become of this. Um, there is this one recurring idea which comes from the title. All my thoughts are like coal, but Russia on ice is burning a hole. Later on says nothing melts in this cold, but Russia on ice is burning a hole. And I don't know what a winter snowstorm over Russia is supposed to be bringing into this, unless there's something that happened in 2000 with Russia that would have made it, uh, you know, culturally, politically, historically important, enough that people would have immediately caught on to something. Was Russia burning? I don't know. Wait, um, I feel like I might be grasping at straws here. Um, I don't think I would have caught this if the lines weren't back to back. But he says Russia on ice is burning a hole. I can't stop myself drinking. I can't stop being me. Is this supposed to, like? It's weird because you don't say on ice for drinks. You'd call it on the rocks, even though it means you're putting ice in it. Um, and there's an extremely popular Russian alcohol, vodka. Is that? But he says, but my drinking is burning a hole. Is that what the metaphor is supposed to be? Nothing melting is cold, but my drinking is burning a hole. Like, I don't know. Even that's a bit. Like I said, I might be grasping at straws there. Just the whole drinking thing, and then ice and on rocks were kind of like, I don't know. Those are my thoughts on Porcupine Trees, Russia on ice. This was a phenomenal story to be told, even if I can't say I understood all of it on a first listen. But it's where y'all come in. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you enjoyed this or not. Anything you'd like to add on to what I said, correct me on. I asked for a lot of context on this. I don't know how close I was to any of this. So, if you have any additional context, interviews, your own interpretations, whatever, let me know. Put those comments down there. Above the comment box is a description box, and in there you'll find a link to Linktree. It takes you to this menu right here, which has links for everything related to the channel. There's a lot more than this, but you can find multiple ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord, and a link to the music that I write. Above this, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of those. That wraps it up for this video, but today is not over. There's also a special selection that, well, it's not coming out. If you're watching this live, it's already there. Uh, Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC, as usual. We're going to continue on checking out more bands with gibberish names and another special selection. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.